One of the worst sucker punches in history was thrown in an NBA basketball game in 1977. Rudy Tomjanovich was hit in the face by Kermit Washington. Tomjanovich was running towards a little scuttle on this court when Washington hit him in the face and knocked him down and nearly killed him. He did not see the punch coming. When we are not aware that we may be attacked, we are much more vulnerable. Welcome to Truth Talk every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Ed Skipper. Apostle Paul writes in Ephesians 6:11, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." Now we know that the word Satan means adversary or enemy. So we need to be aware that we do have an enemy so we're not caught off guard when he attacks. So we want to prepare for that enemy. When I played basketball, I used to observe the people I was playing against and notice if they like to drive to the left or to the right, and then overplay on that side and make them go to their weak side. And so with the evil one, we want to know what his tendencies are. We know that the word devil means accuser. And so there's one hint as to what he does. He accuses God's people. I remember when I pastored in Springfield, we used to, as a church, give out a book and a rose to families with newborn babies. And as I was sitting in my office one day, I looked on my bookshelf and noticed a couple books that should have been given out a long time ago and hadn't been. And I began to say things like this to myself: "You're a lousy pastor. You're a failure." The accuser of God's people is what that's about, isn't it? Because when the Holy Spirit convicts of sin, it's with the purpose of restoration to a strong relationship with Jesus, that we might confess our sin and get right again with God. But when the devil accuses, the purpose is to leave us in a place of hopelessness and despair. And that's what was going on at that time. Devil is also called a murderer, a liar, a tempter. He's compared with a serpent and with a lion, and he's called the god of this age. He's tricky in how he operates. That's why the word scheme is used in this verse. Now in Southeast Asia, there is an insect called a orchid mantis. It's an insect that looks like a flower. It has vivid colors meant to attract pollinating insects like bees and flies. Those insects come expecting a tasty meal and end up being a meal themselves because the orchid mantis deceives them. And so it is that the devil deceives us in that he tempts us with things that look good. He's an angel of light. And yet they end up in our destruction. So how do we combat this? 1 Peter 5:8 tells us, "Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith." Now, if these Truth Talk videos are helpful to you and you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. If you're listening to a podcast, you can give it a 5-star review, and that will help Truth Talk reach more people. And until next time, may you be self-controlled and alert, aware of the devil's schemes.